Welcome to StraddleIncome. This channel is to help you understand companies so that you can decide if the company is worthy of your investment. Our goal is to conduct the research for you so you don't have to do it yourself. In today's video, we'll continue our research on Roblox. This is the final part of the three-part video about Roblox. In this video, we'll talk about Roblox stock setup. So if you're thinking about investing in this company or already an investor, make sure you watch out. If you're new to this video and are not familiar with Roblox, please make sure to watch the previous two videos, where in part one, we talked about Roblox company background and the business model. And in the part two, we analyzed the Roblox key financial and operating metrics. I highly recommend that you watch those videos first before jumping into this video. And then please make sure to click the subscribe button so that you will not miss the future uploads on new company analysis. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. In today's video, we'll be looking at a couple of things. The background, which is when it IPO'd, overall ratings, and overall range, high and low. Secondly, we'll be also looking at the resistance and support line the stock is currently facing. Next, we'll be answering this question: is Roblox showing a momentum? Is now a good time to invest in Roblox? To answer that question, we'll be looking at a couple of technical indicators: the volume, the moving average line, as well as the moving average convergence and divergence. And lastly, we'll be looking into if now is a good time to enter into Roblox. What would be a good entry point? Again, we'll use technical indicators to help us answer those questions. So this is the Roblox stock chart. The biggest area that you're seeing on your screen is the stock price and how it's been doing the last couple of months. The second row here is the volume for the Roblox, and the third row here is the moving average convergence and the divergence. So we'll be going through each of them. First, let's take a look at the Roblox and how it's been doing the last couple of months since IPO'd. Let's remove those lines here. We're talking about that later. Roblox started traded around March 10th when the IPO'd, and at that particular day, it actually closed around $69, so which was healthy. And then the next couple of weeks, it started to trade and going up to 83 and then all the way up to 103. That was peaked on June 4th. Then it started to decline after releasing disappointment numbers related to the daily active users in May. And it was much lower than the previous months, and people were worried about the momentum of the stock. So it started to decline in the next couple of days. And also during that period of time, Roblox actually got its first sell rating from one of the analysts. The range that Roblox is currently trading is about around 75 and 90. So let's make a line here. So 75 is somewhere around here. This is what Roblox has been trading, and then I think the upper range is around 95. The stock has been consolidating within this range for quite a long time. It's about 2 months already. So these are the two lines that Roblox are going to face in the future. One is the resistance lines, and the other one is support line. So if it breaks under the support line, it's another bearish sign. But it break out above the resistance line. That line becomes the new support line. So we'll go through all those details later. But now let's look at the current stock momentum and trying to understand if now is a good time to buy Roblox. We'll use several techniques as described earlier: the volume, the moving average lines, as well as the moving average convergence and the divergence. So to simplify, let me first remove those lines. The biggest yellow line is the 50-day simple moving average, and the pink line is the 21-day simple moving average, and the blue line is the 21-day exponential moving average line. As you can see, that Roblox is currently trading below all three lines, so that's a bearish sign. You typically want your stock to trade above the moving average line, and then the higher the better. But right now it's below the 50-day moving average. It's below the 21-day exponential, and it's also below the 10-day simple moving average line. So that's a bearish sign. Now, switching gear a little bit, let's look at the volume. The volume of the stock peaked around the IPO day, which is expected. But then since that point on, it kind of traded very small. The yellow line that you're seeing here, this guy is the moving average for the volume. So typically in the last 50 days, how the Roblox volume has been. And you can tell in the June all the way to now, the stock has really been trading below that line, indicating there's not a lot of interest about this stock. The only couple of times it peaked up and was a sell, and then there was another peak that followed quickly by a couple of sells right here. The third technical indicators to help us understand if now is a good time to get into Roblox and if there's enough momentum is the moving average convergence and divergence. So different people use different technical indicators, but in this case, let's start with something simple. I always believe simple is better. So the moving average convergence divergence indicating a transition of the momentum. As you can see, the green one here is really strong, indicating a strong climb up. And then the red bar charts that we're seeing on this part indicating a bearish sign causing the stock to go down. The point you want to be considered and take close attention is the switching between the light green to the darker green. That usually indicates a pivotal point. As you can see right now on this chart, the moving average convergence and divergence is showing that Roblox is trading with several red bar charts from the beginning of July till now. So that's another bearish sign. However, those two lines are starting to converge a little bit. So there potentially could be a point where the blue line will cross over and then the stock could have a pivotal change of the momentum. But at this particular point, all three indicators, the moving average, the volume, and the MACD lines, they're showing the Roblox is currently trading at a bearish sentiment. So with that being said, what would be a good time to get into the stock? Nobody knows the true answer, but we have to rely on technical indicators to help give us a sense in directions. So we'll just start with simple. We'll look at the trend line. The trend line usually is a good way to give you a first idea how the stock is going. So let's draw a trend line here. And then that indicates the ceiling the stock has been trading under. And then let's do another one, which is the bottom. So here is the floor the stock has been trading. So the two trend line is actually converging soon. This is a pattern that, if you're familiar with technical indicator, this is something called a wedge squeeze. So the stock is actually being squeezed. It's trading tighter and tighter and tighter. So at this point, the stock could be either breaking up or break it down. So when it breaks up, usually it's a very good sign. You know, it shows that stock is showing some kind of a change of character. But then when it goes down, it really shows that stock is in a bearish mode. So the pivotal point we're talking about here is around 74, 75. And from this line, we're seeing it's around the middle of the August. Interestingly, that's when the Roblox is going to announce its second quarter of the earnings. So with that being said, the stock chart is telling us there's going to be a potential pivot around $74 and around the second week of the August. So again, none of this is 100% technical indicators, just give a sense of directions. But personally, to summarize, Roblox chart is telling us a couple of things. The stock is not trading in a very positive sentiment. It's actually in a bearish sentiment. Secondly, the stock could have a break point around $74 in the next couple of weeks in August. Now, to summarize everything we have talked about in the 3 videos till now, the company, which was in the first video, the fundamental analysis, which was in the second video, and today's video, the stock current setup. And all this information will help us to have an overall perspective on whether you want to invest in Roblox or not. First, from the company and the founder perspective, we understand the company is still led by the founders, and the management teams have over 5% of investment stake in the company. So that's a check. Secondly, the management team has combined more than 15 years of experience. So that's another check for me. Roblox is a leader in this space, and there's no direct competitors in this space. And there's also a high barriers to enter. So that's another positive sign. It's a leader in the market, no direct competitors. The fourth signal that tells us was that Roblox has a very diversified customer base. There's no single customer representing 20% of the revenue. So that's a check. Now, switching to the fundamental side, which was we discussed in the second video, the revenue growth rate is actually slowing down. Still healthy, but it's slowing down. So from my perspective, I put a check here. The cash flow growth has some concerns because it's showing a slow growth rate than the prior couple months. If you're not familiar with all those terms, I really recommend you watch the second video where I talked about all those informations in detail. So the cash flow has some concerns. We put a question mark here. And the daily active user growth is actually something negative about the company. It's expected to have, for the first time, a negative growth rate on the daily active user, which is a big negative for the company. So I put a cross here. And coming back to what we just discussed in the stock setup, the stock is not showing a momentum because we have looked at a couple of different things. And then the stock could be potentially in a near breaking out point. We talked about the price around 74 and potentially breaking out around early or second week of August. So to summarize, we think Roblox is a company we can put it into the watch list, and we recommend not to act on this point at this point. I personally will be waiting for the next earning report to give us some kind of idea whether this company's growth is going to be sustainable or not. So until then, I will not invest in this company. So that's everything I want to share. I hope you're enjoying this video. Everything we talked about here is for education purpose. Do not trade, do your own research, or you will lose money. So with that being said, happy investing, and I will see you in the next video.